I know everyone's probably all thinking like, oh, what's the next intro for the walk around the compound gonna be? But I didn't have time to do a complex, multi-layered walk around the compound intro. I know that some of you are gonna be a little bit disappointed. You're gonna sit there and say like, oh no, there's not a thin intro thing, but you're gonna have to deal with it. So walk around the compound. Whoa, frisky kitty. You have a friskiness in your pants. What happened? You were just zipping in back and forth and zooming. I was coming in the gate around the freezer, and then she like got stocky and crouchy, and then she's like zoom, and then she papped on her ball, and then she kind of zoomed back and forth. She's got a little bit frisky. She was looking at me and crouching and just being just like, oh, play. Oh my gosh, look at you. O-M-G. The adorableness is strong in this one. These are the dorbs you are looking for. Allie. Hi, baby. Look at you. Work it. You just know how to work it. What a good girl. What a good girl. All right, Arch. Do you have anything to contribute? No, you do not. I mean, besides, of course, just looking handsome, beautiful. Of course. Oh, kitty cats and frisky pants and funniness and adorableness. And hello, all of you big cat lovers out there. It's me, Derek, again. Welcome to another super fantastic, wonderful, exciting, exquisite, things and words and whatnot, walk around the compound webcast. It's an evening webcast. We've got a bit of a sunset amidst a glowing cascade of cloud and shadow. So that's kind of neat. Rah. Hi, bud. Hi, mister. Oh, wow. That was pretty cute. That was pretty cute. Ooh. Oh my. Hello. I am gonna be getting a little bit... seriously? Seriously? There we go. Capture. I gotta make sure I get my captures in before a rally gets a second pass. Yeah, before you ruin everything. Before you ruin everything with your affection. Oh, why do you have to be so lovable and squishy? Zoobs! Mr. Zoobs! Hi. How are you? How you doing, mister? Peeing? That's very interesting. That's something that you don't do basically every single time that you see me. Neat. Walking it. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Hello, Snuffle Pants. Kitty cats are up. Kitty cats are active. Kitty cats are wanting to say hello. Hi, baby. Hi, sugar pie. Yeah, just shot there's a calf over there that the girls are processing right now. It was sick. And it had been down for a long time, and rancher couldn't fix it no more and brought it over to us. And calves? Cows in general, they lay. Oh my goodness, all these chatty lions. But cows and horses have they've got different nervous systems, and they react differently when you shoot them. Yeah, it's, you know, the things that we talk about on the walk around the compound webcast. But when you shoot a cow, a lot of times they'll have like more like full body convulsions, or like they'll sit there and do this with their extremities, with their appendages. They'll actually, and for, you know, a good number of minutes after you inflict massive traumatic injury to their brain. Now horses, on the other hand, they don't do this kind of creepy kind of thing. Their muscles just go me. They just me. Their muscles just do that for a long time. So that is a difference between cows and horses. Capture. Cows, you shoot them and they're on the ground and just going with like blood just coming out of their ears and their nose. And horses, they're just, their muscles just, and even when you'll cut like a horse's leg off, and the muscles are just going oh boy, that's how things are started, quote unquote things. That's gonna be a thing. People are gonna be tweeting me. Derek, when you were doing the meh thing, I was rolling. I could just barely breathe. Derek, when you were doing the meh, I was very disturbed. My best friend is a horse. I did not take my child as a horse. And he was very upset at the meh part. Oh. Hi, Sugar Pie. Hi, Meat Pita. Hi, Meat Pita. These two, difficult. Fire and Melita, difficult to lock up. It's always got to be, whenever we lock them up, we always got to get Fire in the lockdown first, and then we got to coax Melita in afterwards. It can never be Melita first, Fire second, because Fire will just sit at the doorway, and then she'll look in, and then she'll see Melita, who's crazy, and then Fire will be like, oh, yeah, screw that, and then she'll go away. And that is not good for operations. You can't clean an enclosure if you only got the one cat locked up in a 2-cat enclosure. It's kind of important that you get both of them locked up. Don't know if you knew that. Don't know if you knew that. A lot of people, you know, like there's some of the stuff that we do. It's just very simple things that we do around here. I mean, we're counting kitties, and we're making sure that gates are closed properly, and we're ensuring that accountability is, yes, that all the moos are accounted for. Yeah. But a lot of that stuff is really, really simple, but it's very repetitive, and it's like the same kind of things, because like every few days or whatever your circumstances are, you're locking cats up, and you're putting them in the thing, and then you're checking the locks, and you're making sure that this is locked and this door is secure, and that and that and that, and you're doing it, you know, often, and it's a repetitive kind of thing. And if you've worked here for enough time, you will have performed the same maneuvers a good number of times. Hi, Flash. Hi, Flash. You will have performed the same maneuver a good number of times. And those are the times where you kind of get this kind of sense of familiarity. Like, I've seen this stuff before, and blah, blah, blah. And so anyway, I was over here and do the thing. Come on, Tiger, lock up, lock up, lock up. A lot of people don't, like, in this type of work, in this type of career, it's easy. It's easy to lose sight of that. Just people think like, oh my gosh, if you're working with tigers, like every second of every day is going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm working with tigers. But it just becomes like a normal thing, like anything else. I'm sure that there are people up on the International Space Station who are just looking out the portal, being just like, oh, space again. Probably not like that, but they're probably just, I would imagine that even there's at least been one astronaut who has got a little bit jaded, who's just like, oh, when we get back down, I know space stuff is really cool, and I'm like one of like a handful of people who have ever like done this kind of thing, but you know, I got my DVR down there, and it's got a few episodes of Gilmore Girls. I kind of want to catch up. Hey, Ras. Familiar face shout out. Familiar face shout out. Is an individual, a Pride member. His name is Adam DeLand. Adam DeLand. Adam DeLand? Adam Deland. Big D, little E, land. Are you being sneaky, tigers? So thank you for being a familiar face, Adam. And I am shouting you out. Hi, Mr. Boom. Boom is now able to get up on top of the cement thing over there. He is getting on top of tall things, like a big tiger. Yeah, with your little pigginess. With your little piggy oinks. Gosh. Yeah, these boys are pretty cute. I'm not gonna lie. I know, I started the whole Team Tiki's, Team BB's kind of thing, but I mean, look, they're pretty stinking cute. Pretty stinking cute. And evil and devilish. And awful kitty cats. Just because of their devilishness, their deviousness. Not like the sweetness of those boys over there, those BBs. What you see is what you get. Devious. Numbers. Oh, Savannah. Hi, Nano. Hi, baby. How are you? Oh, very interesting. Please tell me more. For those of you who don't know, she, we surgically removed her eye. She had a pre-existing injury that she had gotten from her enclosure mate, Kate, years ago. And scar tissue just built up, and it just got, too difficult to deal with. How many rabbits does it take to look at the sunset? I don't know, but it would be very good deliciousness to look at a sunset and eat rabbits. I gotta work on that one. It was too wordy. It was too wordy, Luca. Too wordy. Hi, Luch. Oh, okay. She's like, how can I get away? How can I get away? Hold on. Hold on. Boom. 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 Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. It's kind of like pebbles. Boom, 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 boom. Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. Oh, there was a reason why I even started talking about that lady. Lady. Yeah, I'm not even to that point yet. I was going to work this morning, pretty early. It was like 5. And there was a bus stopped on the side of the road, and the flashers were on, a school bus. And but the little the flap, the stop sign thing wasn't out, so it didn't have like the red flashers, just like the regular just flashers. And I stop, and I'm like, oh, what's going on over here? And it was this lady, this good old Texas gal. She was like getting out of the car, and she's like, I hit a deer. Oh my gosh, I'm shaking so much. And like, I'm just checking the truck right now, just checking the bus, everything. Oh, there's a compartment that's open. Oh my heart's just fluttering. Oh my goodness gracious. And I'm just like, oh boy. And I'm like, where's the deer? And I went over and it was just up the road a little, and I shined my lights on it, and I went to go check on it, because I'm sitting there thinking like, hope she, you know, I hope that when she hit it, she killed it, because if not, then I might have to finish it. And I'm sitting there thinking like, well, what do I have that's hard and cumbersome in my car that I can just do the job? That's how my brain works. But I go over to the deer and I start doing just like the normal, like, signs of death type checks that I would do for just the cows and the horses that I put down. And checking its eyes just to make sure that the eyes are in a fixed position, and making sure that it's not having certain signs and signals of conscious stimuli or ability. And it didn't. It was gone. Lights were out. And then the lights were on it, and the woman was like, oh my God, and she was like way in the distance. And then the deer, because its nervous system is still kind of firing, it starts doing like this. And she starts just like, it's still alive, oh my God. And I'm like, it's not live, it's just its brain turning off, ma'am. I'm like, it's fine, ma'am. It's just. And then I started thinking like, oh yeah, there's a lot of people, like, I've got a very much different perspective, and the people that work here, our interns and Heidi and everyone, got a way different perspective about stuff like that than your average folk person. What say you, Yano? What say you? Yeah, you like it when it goes me, 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 me. But there's a lot of times, and I've thought about this, especially with cows, because like you could literally take a 30-30 and like shoot a cow like 5 times, like directly in the brain, like plug, and it'll like its body still has enough like nervous, and it'll still like do that. There's nothing there anymore. There's nothing. But people who look at that, I know, they would say like, what is going on with that thing? It's still alive. But they confuse. They confuse certain nervous twitching with that of live function. There's certain things called like death gasping, or I don't know, it's not apneic breathing, is it? But there's a certain thing where I think I've even talked about this on previous webcasts. Pee! But I think I've talked about this on previous webcasts where the body will tense up and it'll go and it's like it'll actually hit the diaphragm in a certain way. It's not breathing, but it's actually drawing air into its lungs, because the muscles around the lungs and the diaphragm are tensing to a point where it's actually causing like a short, kind of thing to take place. It's eerie. It's creepy. Creepy, you said. Let me tell you about creepy, my boy. You don't know creepy. You don't know creepy until you have been sitting behind. I'm trying to come up with a creepy reference. But that's the catch-22 about creepy references. If I don't come up with the good one, then it's gonna be like, oh, that wasn't that good one. But if I come up with too good of one, people will be like, what's going? What? Oh, jeez. Goodness gracious. I was gonna say something about like, you don't know creepy until you've been behind a candy store at 2 in the morning, and I'm like, I don't even know what that means, but that sure is creepy. And I like stopped myself. I'm like, I don't even know if I want to say that. But then I just did, so whatever. But yeah, there's like things, and sometimes I wonder if like that's where you'll get like people like we went into like this slaughterhouse, this place where they murder cows, and I wonder if that's a little bit like I haven't seen like a lot of those types of videos, but I'll bet you that there's plenty of those videos where people have worn like hidden cams and like slaughterhouses and stuff like that, where that's exactly like it's what, where they're like trying to like expose like their inhumane practices, and they're saying like they're dragging these animals around when they're still alive, but it's probably just like that like that, just because it's moving, and you know, they may have just given it the bolt into its brain. This is a strange topic on the webcast, but I mean, it fits. Wally is still, yeah, not gonna go over there. Not gonna go over there. No need to. Oh, look at this one. Well, where did Selena go? Where did this tiger go that was over here? Just a second. I was wondering, where did this tiger go? You. Oh, I would have been so eaten. I would have been so eaten. So eaten, so dead. So eaten, so dead. Ooh, pretty. Very pretty. So, yeah. Let's see if I can get a little bit of that sunset in there. See, that's the thing that stinks. If I get the light, I focus on that, then I focus on him. It's like, I gotta either choose one or the other. I gotta choose the sunset or I gotta choose the kitty cat. Can't have both. Maybe when they come out with different camera technology, I will be able to choose both. Hopefully that will take place. Hi, son. Hi, baby. Hi. Hi, sugar pie. How are you? Yeah, you're a good girl. You're a good girl. What a good girl she is. Yeah, poor Noe. She's just kind of having to listen to whatever he says. Not exactly a 21st century relationship, I will say. A little bit controlling, possibly emotionally abusive. I know, I'm concerned as well, Milo. I know that people say it's their culture, but you know what I say? Sometimes culture is wrong. I kid. No, but he's being a lunatic right now. You see what you do to us, ladies? You see how crazy you make us? Yeah, you have that sort of power over us with your womanhood. Oh, you squeaks! Ah, I'm gonna take pictures. Capture of that. Hi, baby. Hi, sugar pie. Sus! Oh, so much has been done in the. Let's take a shortcut through here. So I'm gonna head down to the house because Heidi has been working so hard. She has been working. We've had a lot of volunteers. I mean, Lisa and JD and Devin and Rachel and Stephanie and Rachel intern supervisor and Manisha and like Jill and me and David and Samantha have been down working on that. Hi. They've been down, you know, at the addition, working really diligently and doing a lot of stuff. And Heidi above all. Heidi, I mean, absolutely, has just been down there just hours and hours and hours every day. Not only dealing with the contractors and the individuals that we're hiring to get this stuff, you know, put together, but also just doing a lot of the work herself. So yeah, she's been pretty exhausted. Once this whole thing is done, I swear she's gonna sleep for probably a year. Well, I'd want her to sleep for a year, but she won't. She'll move on to the next thing, like she always does. She's a workaholic. I tell her, honey, you gotta, calm down. You gotta. But she don't listen. She's stubborn. But then again, so am I. So, we're a good fit. Okay. Wow. All right, yeah. Oh, there's that. And things and whatnot. This is going to be, it's going to be a food prep area for like the lemurs, and it's going to be a break area for like interns and volunteer and staff, and that's something that we very much so need. It's also going to be the area where the concierge is going to be staying for the individuals who are, going to be staying upstairs. So that's why we've got, carpets, and then there's the beddings and the stuff like that. So yeah, and then we've got the TV in here so that O'Reilly and Zubiri would put cartoons up there for them. Oh my gosh, they're gonna be able to watch cartoons. It's so cool. So cool. So yeah. Yeah, girls are over there bushering. They're over there bushering right now. I'm just gonna make sure the camera stays pointed over this way. Yeah, that failed mess. Taking the rocks out of that thing. Weird little raccoon monkey things. Weird little raccoon monkeys. I don't know. I don't know about these guys. I never do. I never have. Can't say as I trusts them. I know, call it old-fashioned. Call it prejudice. Numbers. Look at you. What are you up to? Huh? See, look at him. He's grabbing outside. Grabbing into property not his own. Ill-gotten goods. What are you doing? There's grass inside there. You want some? You want some of this? Want some of that stuff? There you go. All right, take that. There's so much grass inside of your enclosure. No, but I want the grass that's outside of the enclosure, not the grass that's inside. You don't understand, Derek. The stuff is the grass is always greener, Derek. You see. Rachel! Hi! She won't say hi. She said hi to me earlier today. I don't see what the big deal is. Oh my gosh. Jeez. She's so man. Oh. Crazy thing that I was reading about the it's this play, and I'm going to try to wrap up this kind of thing kind of quickly, but it's an important kind of thing because it's the Bouvier Conservancy over in Zimbabwe, and it was it had like a really strong resurgence of lions and growing lion population over the past few years. It became a model for conservation. I think it was like a private owned kind of thing, and there was a lot of trophy hunting that was done on there, and that definitely put the funds in place to actually hire land managers and whatnot to steward and tend to the land. But they're calling it, and I've read a couple articles, they're calling it the Cecil effect on this park. Because the dentist, the American dentist from Minnesota, Walter Palmer, when he went over there and he shot Cecil and sparked international outrage, it caused a lot of other trophy hunters to basically say, like, F that. I'm not going to go over there and just risk my name and risk my reputation. No, thank you. This is ridiculous. And then what they're saying now is that there's this in this conservation park that it's 2,000 mile square area that has, again, a lot of conservation groups will say they've seen a lot of different wild animals growing and abounding and thriving in this 2,000-mile square park. Now they have too many lions. They have like 500 lions. They should only have like 300. And they're saying like, oh my gosh, like if we don't do something about these lions, we may have to cull like 200 of them. And then people are like, what? Oh my gosh, we gotta get the pitchforks. But this is like, I mean, this is part of that's part, like the outrage, the unbridled outrage without like trying to figure out a solution is sometimes like the genesis of a lot of the problems to begin with. Okay, there's a problem because they're saying that the sheer number of lions, now just in this one place, and I know the lions were recently put on the endangered species list because overall their numbers are down. There's, you know, maybe 20,000 left in the wild. But in this one park, there's like for the area per capita, there's more lions in this park than what a normal patch of land of similar size would sustain. And they're trying to say, like, are there any other conservation organizations? Are there any other wildlife parks across Africa that can take these lions? Is there anything, or what's going on? Because here's the thing, like, they're just going and they're just killing everything. They're killing all sorts of animals, of antelope, of like other lower predators. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but lions are pretty good at killing stuff. And when you put a lot of them and you put them like in a box, they're gonna kill just pretty much everything. And like that becomes a problem. That becomes a problem, and then you got to deal with it. We'll just move them elsewhere. Well, okay, well, what's gonna happen? Like, are you gonna, like, specific prides? Are you gonna anesthetize them and then move? And then who's gonna pay for that? Like, those are the kind of things that you got to start thinking about with these types of issues, and how one action is gonna have another consequence or a reaction. And I'm not saying that, you know, a diminished number of trophy hunting is necessarily a bad thing, but then I also realized that, you know, and I even said in my video that there was conservation benefit to limited instances of hunting of that sort. And I've talked about a lot about my hunting background, about how I come from a family of hunters, and how it's oftentimes hunters who are the biggest conservationists of all, because they want land to be able to hunt upon, and they want animal populations to be able to harvest. That's the whole point. And if you just like let the land just plummet to failure and ruin, well, then you don't got it. And that's the logic that, you know, is employed. But then I did bring up other counterpoints, and I talked about the counter-evolutionary standpoint and all this other stuff. It's an interesting video. You can go take a look at it. But it does make me think, now this is a whole nother element that you have to add to the discussion. And now bear in mind, this is that specific park making these claims. A park that they have used hunting in the past to help us, you know, supplement to help supplement their operation and the sustainment of their 2,000-acre plot of land. So they may have a vested interest in trying to say, like, well, you know, if we don't allow this to happen, then such and such and such will happen. You know what I'm saying? And it happens a lot of times where you'll see like big hunting organizations line up on one side, and then conservation organizations line up on the other side. And they'll look at one issue, and it's pretty predictable. One's going to go over here, the other one's going to go over here, and they're just going to be like, well, it's that, like, right versus left, you know, Republican, Democrat, you know. It's that same kind of, you know, us versus them kind of arguing mentality that goes on. Nothing, you know, sometimes it just doesn't get resolved in the way that it could or it should. Oh gosh, also, this is another thing. Did you guys see that thing that I posted on Instagram about that zoo over in Yemen? Jeez. Active combat zone. The zoo was in an active combat zone, and the zookeepers had to abandon the zoo because they were afraid for their lives. And you can't sit there and say like, oh my gosh, those bastards. I mean, like, there's bombs and bullets flying all over the place. They hightailed it. Like most reasonable people would do that. And then like they left like dozens of animals in a zoo in Yemen, and they started to starve. They started to starve, and they started to die. Like elephants, and like a leopard died, and then it's a leopard cage mate ate the other leopard, and it was nuts. It was gruesome stuff. I was seeing images. Again, I posted the thing on my Instagram, which links to a news article that I posted about it. And then there was a group of citizens and some of the zookeepers. They came back to try to save the animals that were remaining, get them food and get them healthy enough to be able to get moved out of there. And there was a woman in Sweden who had organized a crowdfunding kind of thing through, I think it was generosity.com. And I know a lot of people, they were a little bit leery about it. And I admit that I had like a raised eyebrow with a lot of the stuff myself, because you look at that and then you start to think like, okay, well, you know, this isn't necessarily put together by an accredited group. And, you know, well, the people, I mean, you know, there's certain things, maybe IFA or traffic should be doing. But, you know, in some instances, it's like, it seemed like you just have to kind of put out, you know, something quick and dirty. Just, you know, you got a shotgun, just like a movement out, because the urgency does not allow you the luxury of like going through all the hoops and the red tape that such a fundraising endeavor would require. The animals are dying. And then, you know, people are like, well, you might be inadvertently like weirdly funding terrorism. And it's like, ooh, that's another, like, geez, that's a crazy thing to kind of think about. I just want to help these animals that are obviously starving. And like maybe even the people who organize that thing, they're legitimately trying to help, but through no fault of their own, the funds that they raise possibly could still, in a circumventional manner, end up funding, you know, those conflict efforts. Who knows? But it's like in the meantime, and I've looked at some of the updates from that campaign page and the Facebook page of the woman who put everything together, and I have seen different updates where it says like, look, we were able to finally get water, we were able to finally get a vet in there, we were able to buy donkeys for slaughter, and it did seem like the evidence was more supporting the idea that this was a legitimate fundraising endeavor and that they were trying to actually help these animals. And there were and people were saying like, I've seen this story posted before. There were dudes they were holding signs, handwritten signs that said 16 February 2016 in it. Like people were saying like, I saw this posted like 2 years ago. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. There may have been other instances of other zoos getting caught up in conflict zones, but this particular instance, no, it's a new one. Yeah, crazy. I'm getting way over. I'm jumping from topic to topic, and it's not good. It's not good. I thought that I was going to try. I really thought I was going to keep this thing short and sweet, but obviously not. I made a 37-minute webcast going on 38 minutes. Ah, jeez. Oh my gosh. Just talking and babbling, and the sun is just setting, and who left us out here? Stinking interns, can't let them go anywhere without them leaving their crap around. Jeez, don't you know? All right, enough of all of this. Webcast is done. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. I'll talk to you folks later, okay? Bye-bye. I'll post some of the links below in the comments to some of the things I was talking about. Interesting things to nibble on, interesting things to think about. But, yeah, you know, knowledge is power, and we can hopefully try to do incremental improvements to the world around us to try to make things better. All right. Pride strong. Bye-bye.